If you've tried every wash on the market and that fishy smell still won't go away, you're not alone. You stand in front of the mirror every morning, checking and rechecking. The worry follows you straight into the shower, into getting dressed, into every single close moment you used to enjoy without a second thought. But here's what makes it worse. You've started avoiding the activities you actually love because the fear of that smell betraying you in the middle of it all is too heavy to carry. Years of this grind you down. The quiet self-blame sits right in your chest. You lie awake at night wondering why your own body seems to be working against you no matter how careful you are. Listen to me. This is not always your fault. It never was. And the reason is simpler than you've been told. You've done everything right by the rules they gave you. But those rules were built to keep you buying more washes, more sprays, more creams that only mask the problem for a few hours. Your doctor hands you another prescription or tells you to just wash more. Big Pharma keeps the cycle spinning because a fix that doesn't last means you'll be back for the next bottle. Meanwhile, the old ways my people have passed down for generations have always known the real root. They never blame the woman. They look deeper. The story you've been living inside is the wrong one. Your doctor said it was hygiene or hormones or something that just happens with age. The commercials promised freshness in one quick wash, but none of them ever mentioned the one thing actually happening inside you. And that's the real reason nothing has worked. But there is a completely different path, one that actually reaches the place no wash can touch. Stay with me just a little longer. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why nothing you've tried has worked and what finally does. Because the real story is simpler, kinder, and more powerful than anything you've been told. And once you hear it, everything starts to make sense. But the real reason this keeps happening is not what you have been told. It is not about being cleaner. It is about bacteria. The wrong kind have quietly taken over in a place where balance used to live. Think of your body's most private area as a delicate inner garden. For years, it stayed fresh and sweet because good bacteria acted like careful gardeners. They kept the soil at the right level, crowded out anything harmful, and made sure nothing smelled off. But over time, the soil itself gets worn down. The gut, which feeds that whole garden from deep inside, starts sending weaker support. The good gardeners grow fewer and weaker. And the weeds, the bacteria that create that unmistakable fishy odor, move right in and take over. That is why every wash you have tried only works for a few hours. A wash is like hosing down the surface of the garden. It knocks a few weeds back, but it does nothing to strengthen the soil or bring the good gardeners back stronger. The weeds simply grow right back, sometimes even thicker because the harsh soaps can disturb what little good bacteria remain. Antibiotics do the same thing on a bigger scale. They wipe out everything, good and bad, and leave the garden even more vulnerable. I have watched this pattern for a long time in the people who sit across from me. The gut and that intimate garden are connected more closely than most doctors ever mention. When the gut is not feeding the right support, the imbalance shows up exactly where you notice it most. And here's the quiet truth I almost hesitate to say out loud. If this imbalance sits unattended year after year, the body has a harder time finding its way back on its own. The garden becomes more stubborn. The weeds settle in deeper. But that does not have to be your story, because the old ways have always known a gentler answer that works from the inside out. I want to tell you about one woman who came to me carrying exactly the same burden. Her name was Eleanor. She was 67, a retired teacher from Atlanta. She loved her book club and her grandkids, but she had started making excuses to miss gatherings. The worry about that smell had taken the joy out of simple things. She had tried every wash on the shelf, every cream the doctor suggested, even a round of antibiotics that left her feeling worse. Nothing lasted more than a day or two. She blamed herself quietly for years. When she sat with me, she was tired, not angry, just worn down. I listened the way my people always have. Then I showed her how to support the garden from the inside, starting with the soil that feeds everything. She followed the simple daily practice I gave her. Within 3 weeks, the odor had faded so much she could barely believe it. By 6 weeks, it was gone in the way that let her stop thinking about it every morning. She walked back into her book club, hugged her grandkids without pulling away, and stepped into close moments again without the constant mental scan. The garden had found its balance once more, and that's exactly why I'm going to walk you through the same simple daily practice that worked for her. Starting tonight. You have probably tried all the things they sell you for this. The scented washes, the pH balance sprays, the creams that promise freshness. Some of them give a little relief for a short time, Then the smell returns, sometimes stronger because those fixes never addressed what was feeding the problem. They treated the surface symptom and left the deeper imbalance untouched. Here's the chain most folks never hear about. The fishy smell you notice is only the surface. Underneath it is an imbalance in the natural bacterial community that should be living there. Good bacteria have grown weak and fewer. The ones that produce that odor have taken over. And what keeps feeding that imbalance every single day is the state of your gut. The gut is the soil that supplies the good gardeners. When the gut is not sending the right support, the intimate garden cannot stay balanced no matter how much you clean on the outside. It becomes a loop. The gut weakness lets the wrong bacteria grow. The wrong bacteria create the smell. More cleaning or stronger treatments disrupt what little good bacteria remain. The gut stays weak because nothing is feeding it properly. Round and round it goes year after year until the body almost forgets how balance feels. The old ways have always known a gentler answer. The gut needs 3 things to settle the imbalance it sends out into the body. It needs living beneficial bacteria to repopulate and strengthen the good gardeners. It needs the natural fibers those bacteria love to eat so they can multiply and do their work. And it needs the healing compounds those well-fed bacteria make once they are thriving, the acids and nutrients that help restore proper pH and keep the weeds from coming back. There is one simple daily drink the traditions I carry have used for generations that delivers all 3 of those things together in a way nothing else does. Kombucha, made the traditional way with the right live cultures, is like rich compost for that inner soil. The tea provides the fibers, the fermentation brings the living bacteria, and the natural acids it creates are exactly what the body uses to steady the balance down below. You do not need anything fancy to begin. A good quality kombucha with live cultures, the kind you can find in most stores now, or even make at home if you want. Start with 4 to 8 ounces a day, preferably in the morning on an empty stomach, so the good bacteria travel through with less interference. Sip it slowly. Let your body receive it. Many people notice a shift in energy and digestion within the first week or 2. The intimate balance, the one that finally lets you get dressed without dread and enjoy close moments again, follows a little later, often within 3 to 6 weeks, as the garden begins to crowd out the weeds on its own. This is what I give the people who come to me with this exact issue. I make my own kombucha at home because I have the time and the knowledge. But for everyone watching online who can't brew their own, I give BoochBod Kombucha Gummies. The link is in the description, or you can search BoochBod Kombucha Gummies on Amazon. Every single woman who has followed this practice tells me the same thing in her own quiet way. One woman said the smell that had been her constant shadow for 8 years simply stopped showing up. Another told me she could get dressed in the morning without that familiar dread twisting in her stomach. They described stepping into close moments again without the constant mental scan in the back of their mind. The relief is steady and kind, the kind that lets you stop thinking about it and start living again. Eleanor still sends me notes sometimes. She is back at her book club every week. She reads to her grandkids without pulling away. The garden is thriving, and she carries herself like the woman she always was before the worry took over. That same road is open to you right now. It does not matter if you are 55 or 75 or 80. The body at any of those ages still knows how to do this work when you give it what it has been waiting for. It has been waiting to be fed properly. It has been waiting for the soil to be rich again so the garden can balance itself. It is never too late, but only if you start feeding the garden the right way today. The quiet self-blame can lift. You'll walk into your book club again without making excuses. You'll hug your grandkids without that shadow. You'll step into close moments the way you used to, without the constant mental scan. If this spoke to you, I would love to hear from you in the comments. I read every single one. Tell me how long this has been weighing on you or what you are ready to try first. Subscribe so you do not miss the next time we sit down together like this. Share it with someone who needs to hear they are not alone. Until next time.